and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel here tonight, guys, where Barca, they have just about got the win against Eintracht Frankfurt, but I've got to say, it was not as comfortable as many of us were expecting. Remember that coming into this game, Eintracht were really struggling, low on confidence, having suffered some really heavy defeats in recent weeks. So Barca tonight, I don't feel as though they were fully convincing. I think, again, it's another comeback, it's another win. That is 4 wins in a row for Barca right now. 4 wins as well in a row since returning to the Camp Nou. But there are a few concerns there again. We're going to be discussing the whole game, the good and the bad as well. So get yourselves ready and stay tuned today too for my player of the match from today's game. It is all coming up for you. Let's do this. Because, first things first, guys, I think it's very important to, say that we did get the win. We did get the all-important 3 points that we've needed. Because at this point of the league phase in the Champions League, the points are important. Get the points on the board and move your way up that table. And as you can see right here, Barca with that win move into 14th position in the standings. Now, right now, that is not a complete picture of what is going on. There's still teams that need to play. They will be in action tomorrow. So Barca could still fall down just maybe 1 position or so by tomorrow. But I think if you're looking there at the top 8, it is within reach. It is still very possible, in my opinion, that we can reach that automatic qualification spot. We now have Slavia Prague away and Copenhagen at home in our final 2 Champions League games in the league phase. So those are 2 winnable games. That's why tonight was important. That's why these 3 points are key. We are still targeting that top 8. And now it is slightly more in reach. However, guys, if we do indeed return to the very beginning of tonight's game, and I do have to admit, I was shocked to see the starting lineup. I really was. I said in the match preview there, obviously Ferran's starting. You don't leave out a player who's just scored a hat-trick. Well, Hansi Flick does. Hansi Flick doesn't care. Even if you scored a hat-trick, he will leave you on the bench if he feels it is necessary. Was that rotation there to leave Ferran out after scoring that hat-trick against Betis? Lewandowski came in. Did he feel as though maybe Lewandowski was more suited to this game? He's played against Eintracht plenty of times, of course, in his career during his time in Germany. So maybe that was the thinking there. But overall, it didn't really work out. Lewandowski tonight didn't have too much of an impact in the hour that he was on the field. I was also surprised, I've got to say, to see Yamal back out on the wing. In my personal opinion tonight, Yamal was not as effective, nowhere near as he was at the weekend against Real Betis. He was still getting the ball, we were still finding him regularly, but they were able to double up on him there. They were able to really nullify that threat and sort of keep him penned over on the wing. That's not really where you want him right now. You want him in the danger zones. You want him to be able to make his way into the penalty area, get shots away, to be able to create. So I did think tonight Yamal was a little bit frustrated out there, a little bit isolated at times. I think maybe he needs a little bit of support from behind him. Kounde tried to make those runs, tried to make the overlapping and underlapping runs, but it doesn't always work out there. So Yamal for me right now, he's not at his best. We still know that he's struggling with an injury. He also picked up a yellow card tonight. That means that he's going to be suspended for the next Champions League game against Slavia Prague. I think he was also pretty frustrated when he was coming off, in the final minutes of the game. But you can understand that kind of sub from Hansi Flick. We can't let him play every single minute of every game. So Yamal, for me, there's still question marks over that position. We've seen how effective he can be in field, and I would still like to see that more and more in the future. But that's just one observation from tonight. Because I would say, guys, looking at the first half, we did nothing. Genuinely here, not exaggerating, not being too harsh on the team. What did we create in the first half of this game? I'd look at 2 moments. Number 1, when Rafinha whips in across Lewandowski. That was the one genius moment from him. Brilliant volleyed finish, great goal. But unfortunately, Rafinha is offside in the build-up there. So that was one of the moments that Barca threatened, but it was offside in the end. And the only other real attempt that we had was Gerard Martin. Of all people, it's Gerard Martin, who, to be fair to him, what an effort. He takes it on 25 yards from goal. He whips it with his left foot. Wonderful attempt. And it's tipped over by the goalkeeper there. So that was all that Barca did. Our biggest threat, our biggest chance in the first half, it came from a long shot from Gerard Martin. And that is the concern. Barca were not able to create. They were not able to break Eintracht Frankfurt down. They had so much of the ball, but did nothing with it. A lot of long balls in this game, a lot of crosses there, a lot of lofted balls. Nothing really was able to stick in the final third for Barca. And then, of course, in the way that things are going right now, and the way that constantly we are behind in games, Eintracht go and score, just after the 20th minute mark there. And you can see it coming. You can see as soon as they evade our press, which to be fair, it's a brilliant piece of skill there. They actually bring the ball out of their own defence. They work their way around several challenges, but once they evade that press, we are wide open there. We are there for the taking. Eintracht have players. Every top team will have players who can do this, who can evade a challenge or two. And then the field really opens up for them. It's one ball in behind. It's a nicely timed run. A bit of pace here from Knauf. And he's away. And it is a brilliant piece of skill. It's a great finish as well from him. Eintracht work it really, really well. But there's a clear route to go. If you're able to evade that Barca press, you have a real opportunity. And once again, we find ourselves behind in a game, needing to come back, needing to find that strength to hit back. And to be fair, we manage it, but it could have been different. Just before half-time, Eintracht have another massive chance in this game. They could have made it 2-0. This time again, it's Knauf in behind of Barca. He actually cuts this one back. A shot from the edge of the box, and it just whistles over the crossbar. It was hit with real pace. Joan Garcia was, I think, glad that it went over the bar. But yeah, before half-time there, Eintracht putting a bit more pressure on, Barca not threatening enough. And I think Hansi Flick could quite clearly see he was frustrated going down the tunnel at half-time. It needed a change. Because by far and away, the most important moment of this game, it came at half-time. The most important decision that Hansi Flick had to make. He's not scared of them. He makes half-time subs regularly, and this one was massive. To bring Marcus Rashford on, I think most people were thinking at half-time, let's see Ferran. When's Ferran going to be arriving with us? But no, it was Rashford at half-time coming on there for Fermin Lopez, and he changed the game here. I think we have to give massive credit for Rashford coming on, injecting a bit of pace there, but not only pace, a bit of directness in our play there. He came on and immediately there was a few more combinations going on. There was one between Pedri and Rafinha and Rashford when he cuts it back to Rafinha inside the box, and that should have definitely been a goal if it was going to be onside in the end. But of course then the equalising goal comes from just a brilliant cross. We've seen this all season long from Rashford. He has this in his locker here. He cuts inside on that right foot. It's an in-swinging ball, and nobody sees Kounde coming. Everybody's focused on Lewandowski at the time it was. Everybody's focused on the attacking Barca players. Kounde just sneaks into the area, completely unmarked. Great header though, plenty of power on it there into the bottom corner. Really good equalising goal. Kounde, I think he needed that for his confidence. You could see there in the celebration, running away, really passionate and emotional celebration. But then he does it again. I was absolutely blown away. Kounde, in the space of a few minutes, had 2 goals to his name, and this one was a bit more of a looping ball into him. It's a very different kind of header, actually. He scores 2 headed goals, but they're 2 very different ones here. He has to generate all of the pace on this one. He goes back across the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper's watching it. He's thinking, please, that's not going in, is it? I think he was taken by surprise that Kounde got on the end of another one, and before you know it, it's in the back of the net. You know what I love about this? Kounde's celebration this time, he just stands there. It's almost like, yeah, what of it? I do this all the time. This is who I am. I'm a goal scorer. Absolutely incredible that Kounde comes away today with 2 goals that save us. This is absolutely massive here that Kounde comes up with this. Rashford, like I say, had a really good impact on the game. But guys, can we be brutally honest here? It was a really nervy finish. We saw Barca in the final minutes of this game genuinely panicking a bit. We saw a few failed clearances. We saw a little bit of time wasting. The crowd was really nervy inside the stadium. And I thought one man that stood up in those moments, Joan Garcia. Eintracht had a late free kick in this game, whipping a dangerous ball into the area with real pace on it. Who is there to claim it? Joan Garcia coming out, being bold, being brave, exactly when you need him to. And there was a really late, low cross across the box where, again, he's straight out there. In those moments when things are a bit nervy, when it's getting just a little bit cagey in the game, you want your goalkeeper to assert themselves. You want them to appear. and just take that pressure off. Be brave, be bold. That is what Joan Garcia did in the final minutes of this game. But guys, it shouldn't have really come to that here. You know, this is a struggling Eintracht Frankfurt team. They haven't been playing well. This is a team that honestly we should be beating a little bit more comfortably. It shouldn't be down to a nervy final few minutes here. This wasn't a great performance from Barca today. Essentially, we've got the game won. We've got the points in the bag. We are happy about that. Make no mistake, we're very, very happy to win. But this wasn't ideal. This was a little bit of a step back. We were improved against Betis. We were very good as well against Atletico Madrid. We need to get back more towards those performances than what we did see tonight. And maybe just a few changes, a few tweaks to the lineup contributed tonight to a little bit of a drop-off in the performance level. So with all of that in mind right here, and introducing the brand new player of the match that we are now going to start including in match review videos, well today, I think it kind of picks itself. I think in the end it has to be Jules Kounde. You know, I thought the overall performance from him in terms of defensively, I still honestly do believe there are some question marks there in terms of that right-back role. But the way that he got us back in the game, he has to get the player of the match. And I think it also speaks volumes today that there weren't too many outstanding performances from Barca. You know, there were players today, in my opinion, who were a little bit underwhelming, a little bit under where they usually are. So Kounde, with his 2 goals, the way that he was able to come forward, grab them, and get us back in the game, he takes today the player of the match award from me. But guys, please do let me know your thoughts. What did you make of Barca today? You know, who stood out for you? Who didn't really do enough? And did you understand the changes from Flick? Are you happy really with the lineup that we saw? And what would you now do thinking about the weekend? So let me know all those things down below. I will see you soon, of course, with plenty more videos that are going to be on the way this week. Thank you indeed for watching as always. But until next time, as always, Vashka, El Barça.